All right, so I think that I should probably make this probably more so for my sake than for everyone else to hear the story, but I do believe that this is one of the most uh, weird situations that I've ever had to walk in on. And I guess we could start from the beginning. So, wake up on test day, ready to do exactly what I've been doing. Five LSAT sections every single exam. Take three sections, hour 45, take a 15-minute break, get back, do the rest hour 10. Had a randomizer, so how it would work, I would just go on Law Hub, LSAC, whatever. So you bought it for a year so I can have access to like 90 different or I think it was 70 practice tests. And so what I did was I bought that. Then I would go to the sections that I haven't done because I've bought two prep test books that contain 10 sections. I think it was prep test book 4 and 5 or something like that, or 5 and 6. So it contained, I know for sure, I think 71 through 80, and then the one before that, so I think 70 through 61 or something along those lines. So then, back in February, I decided that I would up my studying. I decided that this was the time to get serious, because at that time in February, it was like February, like 12th. You could actually find the exact date of this because it was roughly the same time Elon Musk he tweeted that he was going to get off Twitter for a while, which actually lasted like a day. He didn't even get off Twitter. So that guy's predictions are even worse than, his broad predictions about, how fast he'll get his Teslas out are as worse as his predictions of how long he'll stay off Twitter. But besides that, I decided, well, first I took it LSAT that day. I took it on, I was using Khan Academy as well. So I switched from the prep test books to Khan Academy because I was like, okay, well, the LSAT has moved online now. So practice how you want to play, So started taking Khan Academy, doing the practice sections on Khan Academy. Finished all the 12 tests on there. And then I decided, okay, now I need to do more. So I believe on the 12th or like the 11th, or it was like, I think like the 10th, 11th one, pretty much near the end, I think I tested a 160. And keep in mind, this was my best score. 160 was the best I ever tested. Before that was 157 or something like that, 158. But then it was like 154. All those tests were low. Like the first LSAT that I've ever taken was a 143 last July. So to give you context, I was a poor LSAT test taker. 143. That was after buying the Mike Kim prep test book, where he made you just learn the logic section really quickly, like just like a week's worth of understanding what is a game section, how do you even diagram a simple, sequence one, go through a reading comp, and go through a logic section. So after that, it was a 143, and that was in July of last year, so July of 2020. And so took that, what else? This is getting carried on. I need to get back on track. Okay, took more, Khan Academy, blah, 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 better, 150, 151, 153, 154, 155, and then peak at 160 in February. Okay, and keep in mind as well that I had my initial test dates for the LSAT on... I've changed it, I believe, 3 times. Before it was in November, and then at that time I tested like a 154 or something like that. I was like, there's no way that I'm going to submit a score. I have time, so I'll move it. Moved it to, I think, January or something like that. I was like, why am I doing this? I got to move it again. Moved it to April. All right. So I was like, okay, well, no, I have more time than this. I'll move it to June. So here we are. Moved it. Okay, so we're in February now. Let's just start at February of this year, 2021. I scored a 160, said, okay, well, maybe I got a couple questions I guessed right. And then I came to the realization, why am I am I only at a 160? Why am I not giving everything I have to improve my score, to increase the amount that I will get in financial aid by just scoring a 170? Why, if I'm going to be going into the law profession, why am I not putting everything that I have in me in taking this test and doing the best I can to the point where I have no more excuses? I've put everything on the line. This is everything that I've got. My question is, if I'm going to be doing this for, for a career, and I have a short window of time to improve my score to take this test, why would I limit myself by not putting everything that I have into this test? Why am I not doing that? So that it was a simple realization. It was getting the best score that I've ever gotten on an LSAT practice session. Remember, 5 sections as well. But we'll get to that point later. But the day that I got the best score on my LSAT, so, finished 3 hours of LSATing, looked at the score conversion or Khan Academy, it just pops up, 160. I took a picture that day, so I actually have the photo. I can maybe post it somewhere. I don't know, somewhere. Had the photo, sat down on the couch, and instead of celebrating that, because I was like, okay, well, maybe I just got a couple questions, lucky guesses on the reading comp or something like that, I said, I'm not proud of this. I wasn't proud. I sat there and I said, well, I'm not doing everything that I should be doing. I'm over here being proud of a 160 that could be a fluke because I've been testing in the 150s, and I shouldn't be. It's not that I shouldn't be proud of it, but this is not enough. It's too early, and so it was just this simple conversation with myself that I'm not doing enough, and so I got a piece of paper out. I drew a line down the middle of the piece of paper, and on the left side of the piece of paper, I wrote things that I should be doing, or important things, or I don't know if the things that are important to what I'm doing in my daily life, or in my daily routine, in my 24 hours, what is important, and on the right side, where is my time being wasted? So on the left side, I should probably bring that up, I will actually do that. You're going to listen to me walk up some stairs to read off this piece of paper. But I think that, this is almost like you're here with me. So, it makes it a more personal experience, I guess, for everybody. Just to see that, this isn't just some thing that I'm lying about. And they also made me take it down during the exam, which kind of irritated me, because I always look up at this piece of paper and I was like, this one conversation with myself to really reflect, produced a piece of paper that I followed that allowed me to study for, 4 hours a day just on the LSAT, 2 hours a day just on homework, reading every day, going to the gym every day. So I'm out of breath. All right, so have the piece of paper in front of me. Left side says important. Right side says not important. I see left side, gym, health, exercise, 1 hour and 45 max. Eating, 1 hour and 30 minutes. This is just saying how much time I should allocate. I said studying LSAT, 5 hours minimum. School, 2 hours. I wrote sanity is important. I wrote sleep is important. And I said 6 hours, maybe. I said shower. I said time to take while waking up. So, you don't just burst out of bed. You roll around, you think about your life, you think about your decisions, and then you get up. And then I wrote, I didn't write reading on here, but before this I was already reading every day, so it didn't really matter. And then on the right side, I have what is not important. And I have YouTube videos. I said rants because I like to rant. And I said eating because, eating is fun, and I'll spend a little bit too much time just, snacking and going to the fridge, seeing what's up in there, even though I know what's in there. And then I wrote, why? Just the question, why? And the answer was, every minute spent here, meaning studying, doing productive things, means less hours and days spent in the future to pay for this. The choice is now or future, and these are the choices. There are no good decisions, only trade-offs, which is a Thomas Sowell quote. In terms of obviously what it means, pretty obvious to see what it means, but there are no good decisions and only trade-offs. So the trade-offs here would be, okay, spend time away from doing unimportant things that are fun for more important things for my future. So that was I really like that quote. It really gets the point across that you have only trade-offs in life. It is this idea of good decisions. Sure, there are plenty of good decisions, but I think, looking at it in terms of, trade-offs, especially like in the economic sense, that you have opportunity costs. If you're chopping down a tree for 24 hours, you're not educating yourself. You're not building a house. You're just chopping trees. There are a multitude, millions of things that you're not doing while you're doing one activity. It's not to say that you shouldn't have free time, but that you should always recognize that there are opportunity costs and there are trade-offs. And so I wrote, so now or later, it's all in caps, and later option requires 10x what it costs per minute today. So the rationale behind that is 1 minute equals 1 day of work extra, because if you only have a 3-month period before you have to take an exam and you are not improving your LSAT score, and let's say you are improving your LSAT score, and let's say that translates into $20,000 more in scholarship, you are effectively taking 1 minute now to pay for this loan that you will have to take out in the future for law school. So however the math works out, you really are right now paying through your efforts on reducing the cost of your loan to law school. It's a matter of putting in effort now to pay off things in the future. And we like to think of paying things just in terms of money, but time and labor are also in that equation. So then I set a sign-off system to sign off every day. And so I started just recording all my sessions, all my time. I had an Excel sheet that I put in the hour I start, put in the hour I finish, the task I'm doing, and it calculates how much time I'm doing it for. So I have that from, I started that back in November, so I have all my time. And then I have this simple statement, don't panic, which comes from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series, where it's written right onto it, I think on the front page or the front cover, and it's just don't panic. Just don't panic. It's panicking doesn't solve anything. You don't think better. It is a mode of acting that should not be acted upon when it comes to mind. The first instance you feel panic, you have to, if it's possible, reduce that. Obviously, other people have more of a, what would you call it? I don't know. Some people panic easier. Some people really can't control it. Their hands shake. It's involuntary. I get it. I understand. So, 5 hours. Okay, what's my point here? Well, that's the backstory. So then in February, okay, now I just do an LSAT section every other day. Take 3 hours, 15 minutes of taking the LSAT, review for the rest of the 45. That day's over. The next day, remember, I didn't tell you this. I'm circling questions that I think or I'm just writing down on a second piece of paper, questions that I want to look back at and questions I had no idea on. And then the next day, I will go over those questions that I want to look at again. And then I will redo the questions that I circled that I didn't know how to do before I check the answers to see, if I can work through it. Did I not understand the argument? what was going on, and then using Google, using different prep sources that have discussion boards talking about like Manhattan Prep test, stuff like that. Go on there for extra answers that I needed. Did this every other day. Didn't miss a day except one, but I was out of town. But I have taken 45 plus exams, full 5-section ones, for 5 months now, or for 5-section exams for 3 months, every other day. And so that is where we are right now, and never really checked to see what does the Flex actually look like. I thought it was just going to be just the online version. I guess there was different things to that. I think I had a point. I guess that was the history of it. I guess that was the history on my LSAT taking. That's my reasoning behind this insane study schedule. Well, not even insane study schedule, because I took this advice from one of these guys that's on YouTube, and he got into Harvard, and he said he was working a full-time job, and he would wake up every day before work at like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. It was very early. And he would take a LSAT section every single day for like 3 months. And I guess I took my inspiration from that, but I went a little bit further and a little bit different, and took the every other day to go over questions, because this guy was scoring in the 170s. He just has to review what questions he got wrong, but I'm scoring here in the 160s constantly. After I did that, after I started taking exams every day, I started scoring 160 plus every single time. I think I don't know how many, there's a handful. I have a chart, and I could provide that if people want, of my LSAT score over time. And, sometimes it dipped below into the 157, 158 if I just really messed up something occasionally. But for the most part, the overwhelming majority were 160 plus. My highest score was 171. I have never been able to recreate the 170 plus. And, 171, best score ever. Then I scored like 167s, 166, 165 pluses. A lot of 160s to 165s between that range. And so that's the first part of the story. I guess we could get to the second part. Test day. Let's get to this part, because this is probably where people are very interested in learning what happens when I logged in with no idea that this is a 3-section exam. 7:50 in the morning, taking the exam, go on the website, log in to my credentials, wait. Now I'm waiting for the proctor to join. She joins. It's a woman. She sounds young. She's 20s or something like that. And okay, she's going over the test. You gotta let me take over your computer. Takes over my computer. Looks at my settings, whatever. She then goes over the exam. She says, okay, well, this exam is going to be an hour or 100 and, what was it? I think she said an hour or 100 and something minutes. And I said, there's no way. There's no way that this exam isn't 100 minutes. It is more than that. And she said, this is, I think, 3 sections, she said. This is 3 sections. And I said, and the first thing that threw me off was, the first thing she said, there's no breaks. She said, there's no breaks. And I said, but isn't there a 15-minute break in between the 3 sections and in between the 3 sections that you take and the 2 sections that you take? And she said, there are no breaks. Would you like to go to the bathroom now? So I tell her, is this exam going to be 5 sections straight? Because I said to her, this is a long conversation, keep in mind. I say to her, this is not right. And I go on Google. This is hilarious because she can see my screen. We're screen recording. I go on Google and I type in, how long is the LSAT sections? How many LSAT sections are there? I find this one from Prep Test Max. Click on the link. It is 3 hours It is 5 sections, and there's a 15-minute break. I think I was trying to prove to her that there is a 15-minute break. She says, give me 1 second. I'm going to look at your accommodations. I'm going to see if you have a break. She comes back, and she says, I'm sorry, you don't have any accommodations. Would you just like to go to the bathroom now? So at this point, she keeps telling me that there's 3 sections. I'm like, okay, I understand that there's 3 sections for the first half, but then there's a 15-minute break and then 2 more sections. And so I'm like, okay, whatever. I now believe that one of 2 situations is going to happen. I believe that actually the latter is more. One is that this exam is, 3 sections. But I really believe that I'm going to have to take, this is my thought process, I'm going to have to take 5 sections with no break. That's what I thought my mistake was. I thought the mistake was that this is actually a 5-section exam with no break. I thought I messed up in taking a break. I thought that that's how it was. And so I was like, okay, well, given that she keeps telling me only 3 sections, maybe I have to take the 3 sections and then they restart another portion of the exam. So I'm like, okay, fine. I just tell her, you know what, whatever. So I go, she's like, you want to use the bathroom? I was like, okay, fine, let me use the bathroom. In reality, I left, I went downstairs, and I got something to eat. I ate a couple crackers because I was like, okay, well, I usually snack on something in my break. So I'm going to eat something now, whatever. I'll do the 5 sections straight. We'll see how this turns out. Come back, and now I am, I tell her, she's like going over some stuff. And I keep bringing it up. I asked the question, have you taken the LSAT? I just asked her straight up, have you taken this test? And I tell her, this test is 5 sections. I keep on telling her, it is not 3 sections. It is a 5-section exam. And I told her, I'm very confident. Remember, she could see me. I'm here like, I'm basically telling her, this is not correct. I know what the LSAT looks like. I'm the expert here, right? I've done the 70 LSAT sections. I should know how long the section is. I thought because I've watched plenty of, I had no idea that I could be mistaken about that it was going to be not 5 sections. And I just say, okay, whatever. I'll just do the 3, and I just say, okay, whatever. I'll go with it. I can, she opens up, and I see 3 sections on there, 1, 2, and 3. There's 3 sections that I have to take. And she said, okay, are you ready to begin the exam? I say, yeah, I guess I'm ready. Because at this point, I'm actually kind of convinced now that, because she keeps telling me it's gonna be 3 sections. She keeps telling me this, 3 sections. She hasn't taken the exam. She's just been proctoring it. She keeps saying 3 sections. So now, at some point, I don't remember all of it. Maybe more will come to me in the future. I say, okay, fine. I'll just take it. I don't care. I show her my pieces of paper. I show her my entire room. I show her my ears. I show her everything. And I open it up. 3 sections on there. Okay. I figure, okay, after these 3 sections, a 15-minute break is going to pop up, and then I'll take the rest of the 2. So now, okay, go to section 1, finish it. Okay, go to section 2, finish it. All right, feeling good. Go to section 3, finish it. Now, screen pops up. You are now able to just close your screen. Wait for the proctor to come up, and I say, okay, so I go to the dialogue with the proctor. Because now it's a new person. I say, hey, he's like, okay, you can rip up your piece of paper in front of the camera now. I say, before I do that, can I talk to you really quickly? Can I speak to you? And then the guy pops up. I say, that's it? It's 3 sections? He's like, yep, you could just rip up your piece of paper and close. I'm like, wait, give me 1 sec. This is 3 sections. There's nothing after this. I'm done. He's like, yeah, you're done. Rip up your piece of paper, close your browser, and you're done. So, yeah, I hope they have this recorded. I hope this whole interaction is recorded. I want to submit this to law school. I want this on my application to law school. I want them to see me trying to convince somebody that this is a 5-section exam. I want that attached to my resume for all law schools. And I rip up the piece of paper, I close out the browser, I'm done. So here we are. I make the Reddit post, and I'm still confused. I don't know what is going on anymore. I'm done. Somehow that happened. I go on Google, I look at LSAT Flex, it's 3 damn sections. 3 sections. That's it. This is the absolute strangest feeling. So the question now becomes, did this help me? Probably. Clearly more time under tension in terms of actual practicing, or what am I trying to say? Actual testing conditions. You know, I had more time under testing conditions. Clearly, I was trying to prepare for the marathon and go for 5 sections. But we will see. We will see how this turns out. And I'm not convinced that this is all going to be awful. I think one of the things about the LSAT was, you would start to lose your, you would start to not get tired, but clearly being 2.5 hours in, you're not as fresh as you are in the first section. Whether that actually means anything, clearly LSAT says, I guess it's not that important. Because if they're going to do 3 sections, they're not doing 2 logic sections. They're not doing a random section or experimental. And my first thought is, isn't the LSAT supposed to also be a test of a sort of endurance? Not that it should be. Obviously, we are here to learn the skills of logic and reading comprehension and, sequence ordering, not being mistaken on certain, sequences of events and, positions of objects, stuff like that. So I guess you could test the skills, and I guess, your GPA and your all that should determine whether you have the ability to, study for prolonged sessions. But it's very interesting how this is all going to play out, how this is going to affect test scores, and how this is going to affect the future people who are going to have to take this LSAT exam. Because it seems that, I found conflicting information. First it was 5 sections, then I see some people are taking 4-section exams. What is it? I don't even know at this point. Is it 5? Is it 4? Is it going to be 3? I have no idea. And probably should have done my research. Clearly the reading comprehension skills didn't apply because I didn't even decide to read the instructions of the exam that I was taking and studying for 11 months. I didn't even decide to take the time to read the Flex. I remember reading the Flex for a short time, like, oh, just an online. It's just online. That was what I came out of it with, because I never read it fully. Clearly reading it fully would have been a worthwhile endeavor. So what's the lesson learned? Nothing. I've learned nothing. I will carry this practice on to law school. I will never read instructions. I will overdo and underperform. That's my motto. Overdo and underperform. I will get that on my plaque. I will send that in with my application. I hope, and I will add a straw poll to this, that I hope that this is going to be beneficial. I have a couple arguments against what I've done. Clearly, if I've known that it was 3 sections, I would have spent more time reading the LSAT, which book did I purchase? It was not Manhattan Prep. Maybe it was Manhattan Prep. I bought a prep book. I would have spent more time in that book, being more disciplined in the reading comp, because that's my most difficult section. I can't. It's very That one sucks for me. The reading, the logical section is not too bad. The game section, I've drastically improved. I'm very comfortable with the game section now. The logic, some of them, trip me up. But, the reading comp, I would have spent more time there. So, I guess my parting words are, overdo it. Don't sell yourself short. Do hard things in life. Over deliver and under promise.